You've been learning English for years. You know hundreds of words, maybe thousands. You've taken classes, read books, memorized rules. But when someone asks you a simple question in English, how are you? You freeze. Your mind goes blank. Sound familiar? That was me too. Hi, my name's Alice, and today I'm going to tell you how I stopped obsessing over grammar and started actually speaking English with confidence. And no, I didn't wake up fluent one day. I trained my mindset, not just my mouth. Because the real secret to speaking English isn't perfect grammar, it's confidence. And I'm going to prove it to you. I want to tell you the truth that no textbook taught me. Let's rewind a few years. I was what you might call a grammar perfectionist. I could spot a misplaced preposition from a mile away. I knew when to use present perfect continuous. But ask me to speak in real time, I'd freeze. Every sentence in my head was a puzzle. I'd be thinking, wait, is it has gone or had gone? Do I say to the office or at the office? The pressure to speak perfectly turned into fear. I would rather say nothing than say something with a mistake. And here's what's funny. The people who spoke with confidence, even with broken grammar, they were the ones getting the jobs, making the connections, and holding conversations. One day, in a conversation class, the teacher asked everyone to describe their weekend. I had written a perfect paragraph in my notebook, but when it was my turn to speak, I panicked. My voice shook. I said nothing. Then came Anna, this sweet girl from Brazil. She smiled, said, "Yesterday I go to beach and I eat big sandwich." The grammar, wrong, but the energy, authentic, confident. Everyone laughed with her, not at her. That was my wake-up call. I realized people respond to confidence more than correctness. She connected. I stayed silent. That hurt, but it also changed everything. And you know what? Science backs this up. According to Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, learners acquire language through meaningful input and low anxiety. That means if you're too worried about making a mistake, your brain literally blocks you from learning and performing well. Another study by the British Council found that language confidence was a stronger predictor of communication success than grammar knowledge, especially in real-world settings. Translation: confidence isn't optional, it's essential. After that moment with Anna, I made a decision. I would stop waiting to be perfect. So here's what I did to rebuild my English confidence. Step by step, I gave myself permission to be messy. I spoke anyway, even with mistakes. I practiced out loud every single day. I'd talk to myself while doing dishes. Now I wash the plate is clean, good. I joined an online English conversation group. At first I was terrified, but the more I spoke, the easier it got. I watched shows and mimicked native speakers. Not to be perfect, but to feel the rhythm. I stopped correcting myself mid-sentence. I just kept talking, and slowly, my words flowed. Let me tell you something most people won't. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They forget tenses. They say ain't or gonna or mix up their grammar. The difference is, they don't beat themselves up over it. They just keep talking. Confidence looks like this: saying, "I don't know the word, but let me explain." Smiling when you mess up. Choosing to speak even if it's not perfect. That's powerful, that's human, and that's what makes people want to listen. Reminds me of a quote by language expert Benny Lewis: "You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be understood." If you've been sitting quietly in meetings, or avoiding conversations, or typing a message 10 times before pressing send, I get it. But I want you to know this: you don't need to sound like a native speaker to be heard. You don't need perfect grammar to make real connections. You just need to believe that your message matters, because it does. And once you stop aiming for perfection, your English will finally start to flow. So here's my challenge to you. This week, speak up on purpose. Say something in English that you've been holding back. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be real. Because confidence, that's the real fluency. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, if it made you feel understood, let me know in the comments. And remember, your English doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. Mistakes don't make your English weak. They make your English real. Don't chase perfection. Chase progress. See you in the next one.